Hello, I'm meteorologist Bill Steffen. Big weather story today is the wind. Once again, another windy day here in West Michigan. Wind's going to crank up, and we'll be seeing some gusts to around 35 miles an hour. We've got gale warnings out for Lake Michigan. Speaking of Lake Michigan, interesting picture taken Saturday evening across the Muskegon Channel, and it shows a couple of boats out there with lights on, and you can see on the breakwater behind there that there are lights on there as well. And that kind of tells me that maybe the smelt are running. Smelt's a type of fish. And when that comes in, you can grab boatloads of that if they're in the right spot, if you're in the right spot for that. So that may be what they were doing. But we noticed a lot of boats in the channel over the weekend here. And so that may be what's going on. Of course, we've got salmon out there to catch too. Severe weather here during the day today. There won't be much of anything around the country, just that light green color indicating average thunderstorms. And that would be mainly off to the east of Grand Rapids, cold front through. And as that comes through, that'll lend the chance of any thunderstorms. And even if you saw one, it wouldn't amount to much. We will be seeing a windy day with a shower or two in the early morning. I think much of the afternoon here is going to turn out to be very dry. Then for Tuesday, we're going to have to keep an eye off to the west of us. There is a marginal risk, that's level 1, for parts of southern Wisconsin, northwest Illinois, northeast Iowa, and extreme southeast Minnesota. A more significant severe weather outbreak is expected down toward West Texas, where they need the rain down there, but of course not the severe weather. But our best bet for picking up a shower, thunder shower here is going to come Tuesday night, and then again Thursday night, and they showers will be kind of few and far between. It won't be in real significant rain here for us. So we're going to take a little time out right now and thank our sponsors. Here's Michelle.
So Easter just ended, and you're probably tired from having your whole family over, or maybe you went to see your family and you're tired from that, or maybe you're tired from avoiding your family. Whatever your situation is, what you can do is call Complete Care Concierge LLC, 616-264-1397. They are the fast, efficient, and affordable cleaning service serving all of West Michigan. Complete Care Concierge has you covered. They clean homes, they clean offices, they clean businesses, they can do special circumstances, they can do a one-time clean, a repeated basis. They're even there if you need them on the weekends. So call 616-264-1397, and we thank them for being a sponsor of Bill, Steffen Weather. And now a word from our other sponsor.
When your home needs help, you might not know where to start. Why not ask Ace? We're always here to help with Ace Handyman Services. Our talented craftsmen handle everything from drywall and carpentry to doors and kitchens. We're the neighbors you trust to get the job done right. Let's get started. Book your handyman appointment today. Ace Handyman Services, bringing helpful to your home.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Well, I've been showing this graphic and calling it the 72-hour precipitation map. I guess technically it's 66 hours, but this will take us out for the next 3 days here. And you can see the heavier rain is off to our west once again throughout parts of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa, same area that's going to have that marginal risk of severe weather here for Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening. You can see much of the country seeing a little bit of rain where it's been dry and they could use some rain. It's down in the southeastern U.S. Temperatures have been kicking up close to 90 across Florida, and some hot weather out in the desert southwest where it's been very dry as well. Scattering of showers across the northern tier of the United States, pretty much from Washington State all the way east into New England, but much of the time it will not be raining. Let's take a look at snowfall. A little bit of that left over in the Rockies, as you can see, up Yellowstone Glacier. I was looking at some of the webcams there, and certainly looked like it was pretty wintry going on there. And the Cascade Mountains also seeing some snow. If you look real close in the western UP, there's that first shade of color bluish gray right there. So that indicates there may be a few very light snow showers up there toward Ironwood, northern Wisconsin, up toward the Hurley area, and in northeast Minnesota. A couple spots, higher elevations of the Keweenaw could see around an inch or so. And there is still snow up there to be had in the UP. Let's take a look at the next graphic and be able to show you that You can see it's there's more snow expected. Northeast Minnesota, Isle Royale should see another inch of snow, and they've got pretty much solid snow on the ground. Reminder again, we have 3 Michigan ski resorts open here this Easter weekend. I haven't looked to see if any of them are going to be open next weekend. I kind of doubt it, but who knows? Ski Brule is usually the last one to close here in Michigan. Mount Bohemia had a lot of snow this winter, so I'm sure they got snow. Kind of depends if they can hang on to their staff for one more week. But if you're still interested in skiing, and there are probably a couple of people that are, they have some real deals for you here as we head into late spring. All right, let's take a look at some of the snow depths out there. There's a spot 11 miles south of Munising that has 27, this is early Sunday morning, Easter Sunday morning, 27 inches of snow on the ground. Painesdale, which is south of Houghton Hancock, they've got 23 inches on the ground. Three Lakes and Quincy Hill at 14 inches. Herman is west of Marquette. They have 10 inches on the ground, or had 10 inches Sunday morning. 8 inches at Kearsarge, 6 inches at Houghton, and 5 inches at Atlantic Mine. And the picture there is from Easter Sunday. That is Isle Royale. Isle Royale National Park is open now. They open April 15, but there's still plenty of snow to traipse around in if you want to do some hiking and snow up there. Days are getting longer, so that's a good thing for anybody vacationing off to the north. All right. Windy today. We have gale warnings in effect. Wind gusts to 35 miles an hour. Best to stay off the piers and breakwaters if you're a smelt fisherman, because those waves will be crashing over the walls. Most of the afternoon will turn out to be dry. We'll still have some scattered showers around here during the early morning, and maybe an isolated thunder shower with the cold front coming through. There's a chance of another shower or storm here Tuesday night, and a mild pattern expected this week. Later this week, we'll see at least a couple of days up close to 70 degrees. So here's a look at your forecast for today. It's actually going to be falling back into the 50s and maybe even into the upper 40s by evening. So high temperatures occur in the early morning. And the big thing today will be the wind. It'll be on the cloudy side. Humidity falls to 65% this afternoon. Wind southwest 20 to 25 with gusts of 35, and out over Lake Michigan, gusts of 40. So this is certainly going to be yet another windy day in what has turned out to be a pretty windy spring here in West Michigan. High temperatures this Monday, I think, again, before the cold front comes through, 60s for southeast lower Michigan. Cold up in the UP, where they'll also have a stiff wind, and temperatures only in the upper 30s to low 40s. And then during the day on Tuesday, a rather cool day. Temperatures will be in the afternoon hours, mid to upper 50s for the most part. We may touch 60, and temperatures start to warm up a little bit up in the UP here come Tuesday afternoon. All right, we'll take a look at what's ahead here for us for the next 5 days or so across the area. First of all, for this Monday, showers and a possible storm in the early morning. Temperatures 55 to 65 early. Fall down to 45 to 55 with that wind gusting to 45 miles an hour. Kind of a gloomy day once again. The 5-day forecast looks like this, with a chance of a shower this morning, and then kind of cloudy this afternoon. Could be some breaks in the clouds this afternoon. I think we'll be partly to mostly sunny Tuesday morning. Then clouds increase a bit. Possible shower here Tuesday night into early Wednesday. Most of Wednesday looks dry. Most of Thursday is dry, but with a chance of a shower Thursday night. And then dry on Friday. Look at those temperatures toward the end of the week. Wednesday through Friday, we're up into the low 70s here, though it will be cooler if you're over by Lake Michigan. Latest long-range outlook, once again, playing the same tune we've been playing here for the past couple of weeks. 8 to 14-day outlook calls for temperatures to be above average throughout most of the country, including the Great Lakes states, and rainfall amounts, precipitation should be a little bit above average here in West Michigan. So the overall 8 to 14-day forecast is for warm and rather wet conditions to persist around here. And there's some water out in the fields that will continue to be an issue here in the spring if we continue to see that above average precipitation. All right, and there's the map that goes along with it. They're looking for rain in the Plain States. This is going to be a hot and relatively dry summer from California to Kansas and then north to North Dakota. That's the area that can use some springtime rain. All right, Michelle's going to join us here, and we're looking back at that big tornado outbreak we had in this state in 1967. That was the last time we had an F3 tornado in Grand Rapids. this area, the area that was really hit by these tornadoes was in the Chicago area. And I was in high school back then, and that was really a terrible day here in the Great Lakes area. Michelle, take it away.
And there were 32 injuries, 65 destroyed structures, hundreds of damages. And the tornado went 19.7 miles, starting in the Granville area across the southwest of Grand Rapids and through the east and southeast part of the city. And like you said, it was worse in the Chicago area, and there were hundreds of cars that were damaged at a Chrysler plant.
Yeah, that was in Belvedere, which is near Rockford. And school was just getting out, and some of the fatalities were kids that had been loaded onto school buses. And that probably would not happen now. We have a much better warning system in place. I think the loss of life would have been considerably less. I believe the Congregational Church in Grand Rapids had its roof taken off. The tornado started down near the Rivertown, where the Rivertown Crossing Mall is right now, crossed US 131 and headed up, I believe, to Ada before it finally fell apart on the east side of Ada. But really a tremendous storm. And again, the number of injuries in the Chicago area, especially overwhelmed hospitals in the Oak Lawn area and in the Rockford area.
And on the exact same day, GM celebrated making its 100 millionth vehicle.
Wow.
And it was the Chevrolet Caprice Custom Coupe. And the image that I could find that we could use was of a 1975 Chevrolet Caprice. So there it is.
Okay, cool. That was a really neat car. And I tell you what, cars were a big thing back then. If you remember all the songs that were written about cars and everything back then, the Beach Boys did Little Deuce Coupe and Hey Little Cobra. And probably some people singing along right now, some of the words of those songs. But yeah, GM was rolling right along back in 1967.
So these are all the cars that I remember having growing up. We had that Suburban, except it was blue and white.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one I remember was a Periwinkle four-door, which might have been a Chevy. Do you remember what it was?
We had, let me see, I'll go down the list here. When I was growing up, when I was a kid, I'll start with that. We had two Chevys. We had a 1949 Chevy and a 1956. Both were stick shift. My dad went down to Earl Scheib and had the 56 Chevy repainted, and it looked really nice, kind of a dark green color. It was kind of unique. And then my dad bought a 63 Fairlane, always bought American vehicles. And that was a brand new, shiny, wonderful car. Let's see. When I came to Grand Rapids, my father sold me a car for $1, and I tell people it was worth at least twice that. It was not worth much, but it got me through a couple of years. And then I went and bought a Roadrunner. I was this cool single guy and wanted to have kind of a cool single guy car. So I did that. And that was back in the days when cars had biodegradable bodies. We wait 2 or 3 years and they would start to rust out. And eventually the Roadrunner had a hole in the trunk where you could look down and actually see the pavement. I had to be careful that I didn't put anything in there like golf balls that would roll around and fall out of the car. I finally sold that car, I think, for $25, believe it or not. And I didn't know somebody would pay that much for it, but I ran it pretty much till it couldn't run anymore. And let's see, what else do we have growing up here? At one point in time, I owned 5 cars. I had a Saturn. I had a Grand Am. I always wanted to buy a Suburban, a big old honking Suburban. And so in 1979, I got a used Suburban from a guy who works at GM who had 6 kids, and his 6 kids were leaving the nest, and he didn't need that big a vehicle anymore. The thing had a 40-gallon gas tank, I guess. And when, gas got up to like $3-4 a gallon, and you're like, $150 for a tank of gas? Wow. But I had 2 Suburbans. I bought a Suburban in 79 used, and then I bought a new one in 1992. Saved up for that one. And then after that, I started getting Ford Explorers, because the Ford Explorer, my kayak would fit in the Ford Explorer really, really easily, and I didn't have to put forth the energy, this old man, to put the thing up on the hood of the vehicle. So we had that. We had a let's see, a Buick Electra, which was actually kind of a Bonneville for a while, and let's see, we had a Pontiac Toyota combination Vibe. That was both companies got together with that one. What else do I remember? I don't know. That's a lot of cars.
Mm-hmm.
I still have a list of some of the cars that I've bought that's in the other room, buried somewhere in a file cabinet.
So while we're telling stories, I think the world needs to hear the story about the Explorer breaking down at 3 a.m. the night before Thanksgiving. Do you recall this episode?
Okay, 3 a.m. Oh, was
This
that the
one
one where
is
I was
classic.
on the expressway, right?
Yeah. So first of all, I've made a graphic. So here we are. It's nighttime. There's you. You're in the Explorer. We'll call it Stash 1. It's 131 that you were on.
Right.
There's all the night happening. It was the night before Thanksgiving, and you had that Explorer as part of the contract when you went to Wood.
Right. They gave me that. They gave me that cheap. Yeah.
And that was so many years before this happened. The Explorer had run its lifespan. I was a lawyer when this happened. I don't know what I was doing down there the night before Thanksgiving, but I was down there, and Mom came in at, I want to say it was 3:30 in the morning, and said that you had called and the Explorer was broken down on 31 and you were hiding behind a barrier, and she didn't know what to
I
do.
thought that it was dangerous. Plus, I think there was a chance of freezing rain, so I was worried about some car going out of control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I believe it was a fuse problem or something, because I was just driving along and all of a sudden it just kind of quit. The car just stopped. So I managed to get off to the left side of the road. This was just past Ann Street.
So we went and collected your local weatherman from the side of the road at 3 a.m. the night before Thanksgiving, and we called the non-emergency law enforcement number. So if you don't know what to do in that situation, you call non-emergency law enforcement and you ask them for help, and they'll direct you to a wrecker that will come and tow your car to wherever. So we did that.
With the wrecker, and I think he only charged me like $5 or $10 or something like that to tow the thing back to where he said, I just, as long as it's less than 5 miles, I'll give it to you for $5 or something like that. So I gave an extra $5. I'm like, grief, for coming out here in the middle of Thanksgiving early morning to pull me away from a freezing rain, dangerous situation. And, so thanks to him if he's out there watching the blog.
So I said, Bill, this is your one free pass. This is the one time you get to get me out of bed at 3:30 in the morning to come and pick yourself up from behind a barrier on 131. How about you replace this really old Explorer? And your response was, well, we'll see. I was like, well, we won't see, because if you don't see, the next time you're on your own. And you did eventually replace it. Not immediately, but pretty soon after that.
Yeah, we used to run our cars up over 150,000 miles. I think the was it the first Suburban I had or the second Suburban? One of the two of them, I was up almost to 189.
Well, that's how you do it.
Yeah, it was great. At one point in time, we had 9 people in a Suburban with all the fishing gear in the back, in the way back, and everybody was still comfortably in that. And I was that's pretty amazing. I don't think the Explorer is we use it to haul stuff back and forth. I still have an Explorer. I have the kayak, of course, and I take leaves up to the farm up in at 6 Mile Road where we recycle those.
I think you're on your third one now, because there was the white one that you got with Wood, the brown one that got stolen,
right, and
now the one that you have now.
Yeah, the bluish gray one. Was there another one in there that I'm missing?
Was there a gray one?
We've had at least 3 of them, and I've been.
Yeah. Did you also have a gray one?
I've been happy with the Explorer. We were happy with the Suburbans that we had. Like I said, as soon as they improved the cars so they didn't rust out on you right away, they increased their longevity, and it's a great product. Thanks to Ford and GM.
Yep. So that was that episode. Okay. The 21st is National Tea Day in the United Kingdom. Tea, the symbol of British oppression. Just kidding. So I was looking up why isn't tea as popular in the United States as it is in most of the rest of the world? And no, really, it was the Tea Act of 1773. People were really upset about it, and that's why they started drinking coffee instead. And it wasn't until the 1904 World's Fair in St. Louis that tea was the cold drink served on a hot day.
Mhm.
And then also during Prohibition that people were looking for alternatives, that tea became popular again. And green and black tea were equally popular in the US until World War II. There wasn't green tea for a while, or at least not as much of it. And so people turned to black tea more instead. And tea consumption grew in the US in the 1990s and the early 2000s. And I'm happy about it because I drink about a gallon of tea every day, except down here, I have to specify that I don't want it sweet.
That's true. Everything is sweet tea down in the South. And you have been to London to pick up tea there and bring it back.
Yeah, the default in the South is tea. And it's, yeah, I wish that hotels would do, because you go in and there's a little coffee thing, and that's great. And the ones in the US usually don't have tea sitting there anymore. Sometimes I bring my own.
Is that still a big thing with young people, tea?
No, that's a me thing because I spent half of my senior year of high school in Australia.
Oh, okay. And so tea's pretty big in Australia. Yeah, I would
3
think.
cups a day, breakfast, after school, and after dinner.
We have tea once in a great while, but not terribly often. I usually have coffee when I get up in the morning.
So
Yeah.
National Tea Day, you can celebrate by having tea or not having it.
Neat.
And here's a picture of Crystal Lake, Michigan. And do you recognize the name of who it's from?
Yes, I do. That is your former boss up there in Benzie County.
Yes, my former boss when I was an assistant prosecutor in the smallest county in Michigan by size with 1 stoplight.
Right. And he was the one that was all excited about you getting the big bowfin fish.
Yes, my one fish story. We'll tell that story sometime. Anyways, Crystal Lake, absolutely beautiful. It's near Frankfort, Michigan.
Last time I was up there, we saw a loon, and the loon would dive underwater and pop up like, 25, 30 yards away. It was really kind of neat how the loon could hold its breath that long. But beautiful spot. There's so many nice lakes off to the north.
And there's a caterpillar.
Wow, already.
And he looks very hungry.
Wow. I don't know what type of moth or butterfly that becomes, but pretty early in the year for that. One more thing that I didn't discuss yet is the spring peepers are out. Those are the chorus frogs. And if you get near a pond, you can hear those chorus frogs calling out during the early mornings here during an April early morning. So interesting.
And pretty soon you're going to be going on an adventure.
Yeah, this will be fun. We're going to the Canadian Rockies here, July 19th through the 28th with holiday vacations. We're going to start out in Grand Rapids, go to Chicago, then to Calgary. We're going to take a bus and head up to Banff, Lake Louise, and Jasper. Probably one of the most beautiful places that I have ever been. It really is an amazing place to be. I've been there twice, but I have not been there in the last 40 years. So I'm really looking forward to seeing it. We're going to cross the Canadian Rockies. We're going to hop on a train, head down to Vancouver, and then from Vancouver, after we see the town there, we're going to fly across or take a boat, I'm not sure which, to get to Victoria, which is out on Vancouver Island, and we're going to go to the Bouchard Gardens, and then from there to Seattle, and then finally back home. Should be an amazing trip. And if you would like to join me, you can check it out at holidayvacations.com.
And it is easy pace, so anyone is going to be able to do the trip, and they take care of everything that you need to do.
Absolutely awesome. A little bit more information there for you. I will order salmon salad. I will.
Yes, this is what you can expect. And I also like the salmon salad, so I'm not one to judge.
And the Wildcats sweatshirt. Yep, Montague Wildcats.
Yep.
Don't have that one on today, but do check it out. Even if you are not interested in the Canadian Rockies, they have numerous trips that you can take all the way across to Europe and to Hawaii. So all kinds of neat things to do. And they do everything for you, so you don't have to worry about that.
And if you go to the website, holidayvacations.com, and watch the video, you get $100 off. So make sure that you take advantage of that.
So check it out. I think I've been to that spot, that island right there. I remember I was standing up there and took a picture of that. That's not my picture, obviously, but I think I stood in that spot, and that is in the Canadian Rockies.
So I have a question. You were talking about the ski resorts that are still open. Have you ever been skiing?
I have skied twice in my life, both times in pursuit of a girl, I'll tell you the truth.
That's fair.
Once was in high school, and I went with Kathy, and it was a very warm day. We went to Wilmot. We grew up in the Chicago area and went up to Wilmot. There was a whole group of teens from our church that went up there, and I had an absolutely great time. I got absolutely soaked. That's back in the time when you pretty much did rope tows. There weren't many ski lifts, so that would have been 1960s, late 1960s perhaps. And then the other time, I don't know how many of you know this, but I used to live legally in a sorority house when I was in the University of Wisconsin for about, I don't know, it was about 6 months or so. One of the sororities, Delta Gamma, had a live-in houseboy who lived with the 53 girls and a house mother who went to bed at like 7 o'clock in the evening. So they all decided to go skiing and rented a bus. And so I went along with them and went skiing. And while they all went and did the heavy hills, I was still on the bunny hill. Had fun both times. I really did. But
It was something I picked up north, when in Rome kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of. So yeah, it was. I had a fun time both times.
All right. Well, that's it for us. So I will let you close it out.
All right. I want to thank you so much for joining us and staying around till the end here. We got a windy day coming up today, so keep a handle on your hat or whatever. And once that dies down, we should have a little better day here on Tuesday for you. Still a chance of showers here through the morning. Gale warnings in effect until 8 o'clock this evening.